Guys, do you know what is happening in 2031? Well, that's the year the Philadelphia 76ers get a second round pick from the Dallas Mavericks via the Golden State Warriors. Now, why am I telling you this useless piece of information? Well, that's because that is all the Golden State Warriors had to give up to get back the greatest shooter in NBA history. Okay, well, obviously he's not the greatest shooter ever, but Steph Curry needs to watch out, because if Buddy Hield keeps playing like this, we might have to have that conversation. I mean, Buddy Hield just broke a Warriors record for the most three-pointers made in the first 2 games of a season. Not Steph Curry, not Klay Thompson, who spent over a decade being the 2 greatest shooters ever. It took Buddy Hield just 1 season to set a new record. And whilst I'm obviously joking about him matching Steph Curry, it's possible that we might see the best version of Buddy Hield we have ever seen. And for the rest of the NBA, that should be scary. Don't just take my word for it. Buddy even said himself that this is the most open he has been since he was in college. And that is saying something, because from 2019 until 2023, he averaged 18 points a game, shooting 40% from 3 on nearly 9 attempts. The Warriors are getting someone of that caliber coming off their bench, and through 2 games, he's looked unguardable. Watch him here get the handoff from Loon, and that quick left to right crossover to create some space around the screen, and then even with the contest, he's got such a quick trigger that it doesn't affect him at all. Or look at this play off the jump ball, where he immediately runs to the 3-point line, and with his head facing the other way, he catches the ball, and whilst turning, he doesn't stop or steady himself, he just takes the 3. You can actually see the hesitation from John Collins defensively, because almost no one else in the NBA is capable, let alone would have the audacity to catch that ball in that situation and in an instant turn and fire, but that's just what Buddy can do. And you can say it's reactionary after only 2 games, but for anyone who watched preseason, Buddy also looked great for the Dubs during preseason as well. Even in the games where his shot wasn't dropping, just that movement, that energy, and that additional shot making makes the Warriors significantly more difficult to guard. Just like here where Buddy gives it up to Steph. And the key here is Keontae George feels the need to help over because, well, it's Steph Curry, which gives Buddy just enough space to get that shot off. This is the Steph Curry effect. Even when you have Buddy Hield next to you, Steph's gravity and threat is so high that you forget about him, or you take that chance and feel the need to help over. And one thing that you'll notice very quickly is the chemistry between these 2 guys. I mean, it makes sense because they both have such similar games and similar tendencies that they just know what each other is thinking, which doesn't just extend to Steph. The beautiful part about Buddy Hield playing for the Warriors is everyone on this Warriors roster is accustomed to playing with Steph and Klay, which means they know how to screen and when to screen for shooters just like him. Like here where GP2 recognizes his defender helping off to trap Melton, so he smartly sets the back screen on Clarkson, giving Melton that option and allowing Buddy to step into a wide open 3. Or how about on this play where Looney is preparing to set a screen for Pods, but watch him then turn his head as he recognizes Buddy coming around, and instantaneously he flips and sets a perfect screen to get him free for the 3. Obviously other teams make plays like this, but every player on the Warriors is so aware of when and where their shooters are at all times, and they do everything they can to help free them up. Obviously starting with the GOAT, but those same principles can apply to Buddy as well. And this is why he's loving playing in Golden State, because his movement, his energy, and his greatness as a shooter is being rewarded. Now everyone will talk about the shooting, and rightfully so. He's one of the greatest shooters ever, and the reason he can give you 24 points in a half of basketball is because he's an absolute flamethrower. But there have been 2 other aspects of his game that have really stood out to me: his transition play and his defense. Yes, I just said defense. Buddy Hield has never been known for his defense. In fact, if anything, he's been known for being a bad defender. But 2 games into this season, and he's been genuinely great for the Dubs on the defensive side of the floor. Like on this play where he helps off the corner shooter to pick off the Keontae George pass, and then a nice little interchange between him and Wiggins for the easy bucket. Or look at him on this play against Scoot Henderson, where he moves his feet pretty well on the initial crossover, and then with some help from Draymond Green, he does well to stay vertical and help contest the shot, forcing the miss. No one's expecting Buddy Hield to be a lockdown defender, and the Warriors don't need that. That's the job of guys like Draymond Green, Andrew Wiggins, Gary Payton II, and ideally Jonathan Kuminga, even though he has not shown he can do that. But if Buddy can compete and use his size and strength, well, there's a chance he could be a starter for this team, particularly if Jonathan Kuminga doesn't start to lock in on that end of the floor. Because if JK isn't using his physical traits to be a great defender, then why on earth should he be starting over Buddy when you consider the shooting, playmaking, and overall offensive game that he gives you? And this is the benefit of having so many players. It makes competition for spots harder, but it means someone like Jonathan Kuminga can't get complacent because he will be replaced. And I mentioned the transition play. Well, he just simply runs hard whenever there's an opportunity for the Dubs to get transition buckets, even on multiple occasions getting dimes from Steph in the game against Portland. And this is a skill. As long as you aren't cherry picking and taking plays off on defense, if you have the awareness to sprint hard after a miss, that can lead to great opportunities. You know what they say, think smarter, not harder. Well, Buddy is doing both, because he's using his fitness to outwork the team, but he's also using his intelligence to get that step ahead, which is something Steph and the Warriors have done to teams for years. It also helps that in addition to leaking out, he has a really good knack for finishing around the rim when he gets that chance in transition, or even stopping at the 3-point line and pulling up for 3, which some commentators will complain about, but when it's Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, or Buddy Hield, just let it happen, because odds are the shot is going to fall. And the beauty of everything I've mentioned is the efficiency. If you take a high volume of 3-point shots, you get out in transition and you score off turnovers, the efficiency is going to be great. And so far, he's obviously been shooting the absolute lights out, but when he goes through a shooting slump, it's good for him to know that he can get his 20 points a game within the flow of the offense, so there's no need to force anything. Not to mention, even when he's not shooting well, just like we've seen with Steph and Klay over the years, he has gravity, whether that's without the ball in his hands or with the ball in his hands, like this play where he gets the handoff from GP2. 2 defenders jump out at him, and he makes the dime to Gary for the easy 2. It feels like Buddy Hield was always destined to be a Golden State Warrior, and it's sad that Klay Thompson was the reason this happened, but if there was one player that you could have hoped to replace Klay with, it was Buddy. And for the Dubs to get him for a bag of peanuts, a used pair of socks, and a can of Coke, I think Philadelphia might be regretting that decision. Now, you know one decision you won't regret? That would be subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this. Dropping a like on the video would be great. Either way, have a very great day.